In the 5 months between now and the time you draft your fantasy football teams, we're going to have players who have situations that change like 25 times. We already have people out there making content telling you who are some must-haves and must-avoid players, some busts for 2024. It's March. It is comically early to be making statements like that. If anything, they're out there just trying to get clicks and not trying to help you out. At this point of the season, it's way too early to have any names just completely scratched off your draft board or 100% circled in Sharpie. I mean, can we at least get through the NFL draft first before we start making some of these outlandish claims? But what you should be doing this time of year is definitely finding the players that you love early. Then, over the next couple of months, you can follow those players closely. Did their situation change at all? Did it improve? Did it get worse? And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about here today with 4 wide receivers that I love way too early in 2024. Drake London, wide receiver, Atlanta Falcons. No more Arthur Smith, and that right there should be more than enough to be sold on Drake London. We now have a new head coach in Raheem Morris. He's already come out and said, hey, the quarterback play in Atlanta was not great in 2023, and they're going to be looking at somebody here for 2024. They are 100% expected to make a change at the quarterback position, whether it be through free agency, a trade, the NFL draft. There's some rumors circulating around Justin Fields, maybe even Kirk Cousins, because he's rumored to be moving his family to Atlanta. A lot of other options, but all of them are better than Desmond Ridder and Taylor Gimme a Heineke with what we saw in 2023. And definitely better quarterback play is needed. They just couldn't deliver clean balls in Atlanta last year. Only 68% of their passes were deemed catchable. That is one of the worst percentages overall in the NFL. Now, Raheem Morris, he was last a head coach back in 2020 with these Atlanta Falcons. He had a top 5 passing offense in the league that year. The year prior, he was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That season, they had the 7th most pass attempts in the NFL. Now, over the last 3 seasons, he spent it in LA with Sean McVay, and there's no way that doesn't help his offensive prowess. I really don't see a way that this Atlanta offense isn't leaps and bounds better in 2024 than it was in 2023, which brings us to Drake London and the absolute laughable usage that he had in 2023. How does a wide receiver 1 on a team with minimal weapons not average over 7 targets per game? There were 36 other pass catchers, whether it be wide receivers or tight ends, that averaged more targets per game than Drake London. He only had 3 games all season long with at least 10 targets. He had less than 7 targets in 4 of the last 8 games that he played. And we already talked about how most of those aren't even catchable anyway. So really, there's 3 big things that held Drake London back in 2023. It was Arthur Smith, it was bad quarterback play, and it was inconsistent volume. All 3 of those are in line to be heavily improved in 2024. A new pass-heavy head coach, a new quarterback incoming, and there's really still minimal weapons to compete with in this offense for volume. But the beauty to all of it is this: it's going to be his discount in 2024. He is projected to barely be up inside the top 30 wide receivers that are going to be drafted on draft day, which is going to put him somewhere in the neighborhood of a 5th to 6th round pick, and that could be a huge discount here in 2024. Jaden Reed, wide receiver, Green Bay Packers. And let's just be honest here, fantasy Bigfoot Christian Watson, he misses more playtime than a deadbeat dad. And as the season went on, we really saw Jaden Reed become that number 1 option in this Green Bay passing offense, overtaking Romeo Doubs, who started pretty hot in 2023. Over the last 11 games of the season, he had 8 games with at least 10 fantasy points. And that's what we absolutely love, especially from young wide receivers. It was his rookie year. He wasn't expected to get that large of a role, but with Christian Watson once again going down, Romeo Doubs kind of fizzling out, Jaden Reed absolutely took over in this offense. He was top 10 among all wide receivers in the NFL in slot snaps. You know we love our slot snaps, red zone targets, touchdowns, and fantasy points per target, and it's because he's always wide open. He had an average target separation of over 6 feet. That means, on average, at the time of the target, the closest defender to Jaden Reed was 6 feet away. That is the definition of wide open in the NFL. And like I mentioned, it was all in his rookie season where it took him a couple weeks to really get involved a little bit more. We now know that Jordan Love is more than capable. Not a lot is really going to change in this offense here in 2024 either. But really, once again, the greatest thing here is going to be his draft day price tag. He's going to be cheap. He's not going to be up inside the top 30 wide receivers. Wide receiver is easily the deepest position in the NFL, and we're about to have a great rookie class enter the league. A lot of people aren't going to be jumping at the bit to really look at Jaden Reed. He's not going to be the shiny new toy. However, even though I won't reach for him in 2024 in the middle rounds, this kid has some big time upside. All right, but real quick, before we get into the next two wide receivers here in today's show, I got to show some love to today's sponsor, The Perfect Gene. Now, I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm not the type of guy that loves wearing pants. Since I quit my full-time job 3 years ago to do this full-time, I haven't worn pants to work one day. Feel free to use your imagination on what's usually going on underneath this desk. I've just never really been the type to love that rough and rigid type jeans, especially when I'm sitting all day long. I don't need my nuts crushed and suffocated while I'm sitting here working. Now, maybe some of you out there wear khakis. Maybe that's your style. Well, your khakis. It's time to take a look at the Perfect Gene, and I cannot believe I'm talking about pants, but I'm being completely honest here. They look like jeans. This looks like, don't these, I mean, come on. It looks like a pair of jeans, but these things right here, they feel like sweatpants. They're super soft, they're stretchy as hell, and capable of all kinds of activities. They have 6 different fits, from skinny to that thick. They have waist sizes from 26 to 50 and lengths all the way up to 38 with multiple colors to choose from. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans and head over to theperfectgene.nyc. Our listeners here on this show, you're gonna get 15% off your order, plus free shipping, plus free returns, plus free exchanges when you use code HEADLINERS15 at checkout. That's 15% off new customers at theperfectgene.nyc with promo code HEADLINERS15. Now, after you make your purchase, they want to know how you heard about them. Please support the show here and tell them that we sent you. But you got to try them out. You will not be disappointed. They're actually going to have me start wearing jeans again. My wife is super pumped. I love wearing basketball shorts every day. Sue me, but wearing something like this, that is absolutely a game changer for me. So once again, head over to theperfectgene.nyc, get yourself 15% off your first order plus free shipping, free returns, free exchanges. Just be sure to use that code HEADLINERS15 at checkout. But all right, let's talk about some more wide receivers. Christian Kirk, wide receiver, Jacksonville Jaguars, and let's make this one simple. Christian Kirk, just 2 years ago in 2022, finished the fantasy football season as the wide receiver 11 overall. Then 2023 happened. Calvin Ridley, he's all of a sudden in the mix, but Christian Kirk is still dominating early season targets. In fact, Kirk was averaging almost identical per game numbers in 2023 that he did in his great season of 2022. Then he ends up dealing with multiple injuries that end his season, and he's really all but forgotten about. But now we fast forward to 2024, and Calvin Ridley is a free agent. There's a lot of question marks whether or not he's going to test free agency, or they're going to bring him back to Jacksonville. When it comes to Christian Kirk, one of the biggest concerns I had this offseason was if they let Calvin Ridley walk, who did they replace him with? At the time, T. Higgins was going to be a free agent. He has now been franchise tagged by Cincinnati, so it's looking like Christian Kirk could be in line for big targets once again. We already know that Trevor Lawrence loves himself some Christian Kirk. That chemistry has been there multiple years. It's not something we have to try to prove on the field. He's going to be yet again another mid-round wide receiver that has top 12 potential that you don't want to forget about on draft day. We just need to monitor him here over the next couple months. What does Jacksonville do? Do they end up bringing back Calvin Ridley? Do they replace him with someone else? Do they make some moves in the draft? Because if Christian Kirk has no other competition, holy targets in 2024. Lastly, it's Devonte Adams, Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver. And if you watched this channel last year, you heard us say multiple times that we did not love Devonte Adams based on what his ADP was just last year. It was way too early for having to rely on the quarterback play at the time of Jimmy G. Jimmy just wasn't going to go down the field enough to provide enough scoring opportunities for Devonte Adams. Well, kind of turned out to be right. 9 games in the single digits, and 66 of his 200 fantasy points scored came in just 2 games. He really probably hurt your fantasy team more than he helped you in 2023 on a per game basis. But now, this is a new year, and Jimmy G is gone. The Aiden O'Connell experiment is probably over for now, and I really don't see a scenario where Las Vegas doesn't bring in a new quarterback, either through a trade, draft, or free agency. Now, obviously, Devonte Adams is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL talent-wise. I don't need to sell you on that. He just needs a quarterback that could get him the ball deeper down the field. And honestly, any quarterback they bring in is probably going to be an improvement. And when I say that, yes, I even mean Russell Wilson. But here's the beauty of it in 2024. A lot of people are going to have that bad taste in their mouth based off of what happened to them when they drafted Devonte Adams early in 2023. There are going to be leagues in 2024 where Devonte Adams turns into a late second, maybe even a 3rd round pick depending on your league size. If that is the case, there will not be one time that I pass on Devonte Adams in my draft. Let's hope he can get that improved quarterback play because we know the volume's going to be there. And then you add in the discount, it's like a cherry on top. But like I said, remember, it's too early in 2024 to be making bold statements. Sure, we can find the players we love and then we'll monitor them over the next couple of months to make sure their situation doesn't change. Please don't go out there and listen to people who are telling you to avoid or must draft a player in March. That does you no good whatsoever. We have built an entire community just around trying to help people become better at fantasy football. We're not doing this for clickbait. We're not trying to get stupid views in the offseason by giving you bad information. So if that's what you're looking for, a community to really get better at fantasy football, you found a home here at Headliner Nation. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for the day. On the way out, can you do me a favor? Can you hit the like button? They do help us out here in the offseason when not a lot of people are really paying attention to fantasy football, but hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go find other football things to talk about, but most importantly, do your part to make the world a better place.